Take your seats. Good evening, everyone, and good evening to all those who have joined us online. So, friends, last time when we finished, we were talking about the meaning of the term geography. And do you recall that geography is actually a special spatial science that deals with the description of the Earth's surface and tries to describe what? The physical features as well as the man-made features that are present over the Earth's surface. When we try to describe the physical features, we are in the realm of physical geography. Whereas when we are trying to describe the socio-economic activities of man over the surface of the Earth from a spatial lens, we are in the realm of human geography. Remember, human geography is also known as socio-economic geography, right? So far everything clear? So let's start the class today. And the first topic that we are going to do in the class is dualism and dichotomy in geography. So put your pen down and look here very carefully. So we are trying to understand what is the meaning of this word. We're trying to understand what is the meaning of this word, dualism, and what is the meaning of this word, dichotomy. With respect to geography, it means dualism and dichotomy in geography. Now you already understand the meaning of this word, geography, right? What is dualism? Now look at this very carefully. Dualism is actually a philosophy. याद रखना, जब भी किसी वर्ड के आगे ISM लग जाता है, ism, so that becomes a philosophy, like capitalism, socialism, these are all philosophies, right? So dualism is a philosophy. And what does this indicate? It indicates that when we look at the same thing, from two different viewpoints, or when we look at the same thing from two different perspectives, that is dualistic thought. Do you understand that? So what is dualism? Listen to this very carefully. Dualism is when we look at the same thing from two different viewpoints. These viewpoints could be often contrasting to each other. It means completely diametrically opposite to each other. Like, I will give you an example. Some people view other people only in terms of their body. Like, we can define a person in terms of his physical makeup. You understand that? That's one way of definition of the person. But we can also define the person on the basis of how his nature is, or how is it in terms of soul. Like whether he's a good person, bad person, mediocre kind of person, all those kind of things. Got it? So we are talking about the same person, but somebody is looking only at the body, whereas somebody is looking at deeper things from body. Like, say, for example, nature, character, values. It means we are talking about the same thing, but we are talking from two varying perspectives. It's like, say, for example, this. Suppose there is a person who is standing and there is a light source on this side. Will the light that would be incident upon the person cast a shadow of the person? Say yes or no? Yes. So let me call it source 1 and this as shadow 1. Suppose there is a light source on this side as well, which is causing some light to fall upon that person. Will that also cause a shadow on this side? This would be shadow 2. This would be source 2. Now, two people might see the shadows differently. But does that mean that the person is now split in half? No, it's the same person, but how you are looking at that thing. Do you get it? So I'm again repeating, what is dualism? Dualism एक तरीके की सोच है, ये एक philosophy है, जिसमें हम एक ही चीज को दो नजरिए से देख सकते हैं. Got it? So we look at the same thing from two varying perspectives. Often these perspectives could be diametrically opposite to each other, or they could be contrasting to each other. Like, few people might say that persons are everything about body. Now, this kind of mindset is more materialistic. Can you understand that? Whereas this is more spiritualistic. If you go to Western philosophies, Western world is more materialistic in nature, whereas the Eastern world is more spiritualistic in nature. Got it? But they are all talking about human existence or how man should survive. That is dualism. Do you get that? So do you understand the meaning of the word dualism? Now, what is dichotomy? You see, Dichotomy means that when we divide a subject on the basis of dualistic thoughts, that is dichotomy. Got it? Like some people might say geography is only about the study of the physical features. Some people might say, no, it is actually the study of man-made features over the surface of the earth. So those who are saying that geography should emphasize upon physical features are more pro to physical geography, whereas those who are saying that geographers should more be inclined towards man-made features or the study of, say, agriculture, industry, population, settlement, etc. They are more inclining towards what kind of geography? Human geography. So immediately the subject got divided, physical geography and human geography. In fact, dualism or dualistic thought processes are the guiding thing that helps in dividing a subject into several branches. Got it? So when we divide a subject into branches, now this is geography. It's like the same person casting two shadows. Got it? But this is suppose the physical geography branch. This is the human geography branch. And why we were able to do that? We were able to do that because of the dualistic thought. Do you get it? Do you understand this? So this is the meaning of dualism and dichotomy in geography. Let's write up to this point. After that, we'll try to understand what are the different kinds of dichotomous thoughts in geography. Got it? So give a heading, dualism and dichotomy in geography. Dualism and dichotomy in geography. Now under this, you create the first bullet and write, dualism is a philosophy. Dualism is a philosophy which evaluates an object, or entity, from two varying perspectives, or viewpoints. Perspectives means viewpoints or viewpoints. Put a comma. Which are often contrasting, or opposite to each other. Contrasting or opposite to each other. Now read that statement that you have written and tell me, do you understand it inside out? Read for yourself. Is the statement clear to each and everyone? Very good. अब देखो, ये dualistic thought जो है, ये हर subject में है. किसी भी subject में आप चले जाओ, dualistic thoughts हैं. Got it? So no discipline can remain immune from dualistic currents, and geography is no exception. That's why dualism has crept into geography, and it is on the basis of these dualistic thoughts or currents, experts divide the subject. Do you get that? The branching of the subject or branching of any discipline on the basis of dualistic thoughts is known as dichotomy. Got it? So write the next bullet. When we divide any subject, or discipline into two branches on the basis of dualistic thought, it is known as dichotomy. Third bullet, you write, In geography, dualistic thoughts have created several dichotomies. Got it? So that is the meaning of the word dualism and how dualism leads to dichotomy. Got it? Now drop your pen and look here very carefully. We will now try to understand the various dichotomies that we encounter in geography. The first dichotomy means branching of the subject into two parts. So first dichotomy is physical versus human geography. Now see, when we are bothered about the natural landscape, remember that, over the surface of the earth and how it is spaced out, we are in the realm of physical geography. It means when we are talking about geomorphology, climatology, oceanography, biogeography, environmental geography, it means we are talking about the natural environment. Remember that? Abiotic and biotic. We are in the realm of which geography? Physical geography. When we talk about man's activities, and man performs generally two activities over the surface of the earth, they are social or economic activities. In fact, political activities also ultimately lead to social or economic change. Got it? So social and economic activities, that when we try to replicate that over a map of the world or a part thereof, we are in the realm of human geography. Got it? So this dichotomy, anyhow you know it. Your syllabus has also been divided on the basis of this dichotomy. There is physical geography of world and India and human geography of world and India. That's how the syllabus is divided. The second dichotomy is systematic versus regional. अब ये ध्यान से समझने की कोशिश करें. Systematic geography means we take one geographical variable and we try to take that geographical variable across the map. Like say for example, any one geographical variable, it could be a natural geography variable or a human geography variable. Like say for example, rainfall. What do you think? It's a natural geography variable or a human geography variable? What about iron and steel industries? Human geography variable. Do you understand that? So suppose I take only rainfall and I try to make a map of India or world where I show only rainfall pattern. That map is nothing but only talking about rainfall pattern. That is a systematic map. Do you get that? And in fact, sometimes it is known as thematic map. The theme is rainfall pattern there. Systematic se hi thematic nikla hai ye word. Do you get that? So what is systematic geography? Now try to understand that technically. Systematic geography is that branch of geography which says that we take one geographic variable, it could be either physical or it could be human variable, and we try to represent it over a map or a part thereof. Do you understand that? That is what is known as systematic geography. There was a German geographer, his name Alexander von Humboldt. In fact, इनके नाम पे एक current भी है, cold current, which is known as Humboldt current. He is considered as the father of systematic geography. You get that? Now, what is a regional geography? Regional geography is, we do not talk about the entire map, but a part of the map. Like say, for example, in India's case, we are talking about only one state, not the entire country. And we take one particular region at a time and we try to show all the geographic variables over that region. In systematic geography, we are taking one variable and we are moving from region to region. But in regional geography, we take one region and we incorporate all the geographic variables. That is regional geography. To make the things more clearer, look here. Think of this. Suppose we have map of India and I'm showing only temperature pattern over the map of India. What do you think? What kind of a map is this? A systematic map? Because its theme is what? Temperature. So it's a thematic map or systematic map. Suppose I make another map of India and I show which are the wheat growing areas. What kind of map is that? Systematic map, because I'm talking about one variable. This variable is human geography variable, whereas this one is a physical geography variable. But think of this. Suppose I take the map of, say, Uttar Pradesh. It is the region. Do you understand that? Now I'm talking about this. The rainfall in Uttar Pradesh, temperature in Uttar Pradesh, agriculture in Uttar Pradesh, industry in Uttar Pradesh, trade and transport in Uttar Pradesh, the mountains in Uttar Pradesh, the plateaus in Uttar Pradesh, the national parks in Uttar Pradesh. It means every geographic variable. Can we have a map on national parks as well? Remember, what is the subject matter of geography? Everything that could be represented over a map. So this is what geography? Regional geography. Do you understand that? Because we are focusing on the region. Whereas in systematic geography, we are focusing on a theme. Got it? तो ऐसे सोच कर देखो that we have several regions. In systematic geography, we take one variable and we move from region to region. Whereas in regional geography, we focus on one region and we take all the geographic variables, and whatever we know, we try to put that. Do you understand that? Regional geography becomes important for what? Planning purposes. Because we plan for particular regions and not for the entire country in one go. Like the plans you will make for West Bengal, will you make similar plans for Rajasthan? No, the temperature and climate is completely different. Do you understand that? So this is the second dichotomous thought in geography. Systematic versus regional geography. Regional geography के जो father हैं, he is Karl Ritter. And in fact, Ritter and Humboldt, they are contemporaries, both German geographers, and they are combinedly they are known as the fathers of modern geography. Do you get that? तो ये बात आपको समझ में आ गई? दूसरी dichotomy. Third dichotomy is historical versus contemporary geography. Like say for example, if we are interested in how the fold mountains are placed over the earth in 2023-24, then we are in the present situation. Or suppose I talk about the Himalayas, how they are today, then that is contemporary geography. It means how things are at present. Whereas historical geography is if I say how Himalayas were 1,000 years before present or 10,000 years before present. In fact, few 100,000 years before present, the place where we have the Himalayas now, there was a giant sea at that time, which was known as the Tethys Sea. Got it? So that is historical geography. So don't you think in order to understand the present, we must know the past? Like say for example, if somebody is complaining of a stomach ache and visits a doctor, is the doctor interested in the past medical history? Then only he can study the patient completely. So sometimes you see that in order to understand natural geography or physical geography or human geography features, we need to understand what was here some times back, like how cities has evolved over time. If you look at ancient cities like New Delhi, say 1,000 years before present, was completely different. Was there metro? So the trade, transport, everything got altered. And who knows, 1,000 years from now, it would be a completely smart city. Do you get that? Everything driven by high technology, etc. Maybe energy efficient, no pollution, who knows? Do you get that? So that is the third type of dichotomy in geography, historical versus contemporary. Historical geography मतलब पहले की geography क्या थी, और contemporary मतलब आज की क्या है, चाहे वो human की बात करें हम या natural geography की बात करें. The fourth dichotomy is theoretical versus applied. Now, who are theoretical geographers? Theoretical geographers are those who are interested in making models, maps, charts, graphs, etc. Do you understand that? It means they are armchair scholars. कि वो अपने घर पे बैठते हैं, किताबें खोलते हैं, पढ़ते हैं geography, बस काम उनका खत्म हो गया. But applied geographers are who? Applied geographers are those people who use their theoretical knowledge to take actual decisions in the real world. Do you understand that? Like say for example, a theoretical geographer would be only concerned with a map that showcases where copper is deposited or where aluminum is deposited or bauxite is deposited, something like that. But an applied geographer will use that knowledge and establish aluminum factories, iron and steel factories, copper factories, etc. Got it? So applied geography is what is more important in today's day and world. Because when you are planning anything, suppose you are planning for a city, suppose you are an IAS officer who is presently working in the road and transport ministry, so you will be having some work related to planning. So there you would need the help of an expert geographer. What kind of geographer? Urban geographer or human geographer, who can tell you how cities should be planned so that mobility is not a problem, congestion does not occur very frequently in that city, all those kind of things. Do you get that? So applied geography है वो planning जो actual हो रही है. Theoretical geography helps you in understanding. Got it? So that's the fourth dichotomy in geography. Some people feel that geography should restrict itself to only theory, whereas some people feel that unless you are applying what you have learned, learning is incomplete. Got it? So these are the first four dichotomies in geography. Are you clear with all of them? Okay. So let's move to the fifth one. The fifth one is nomothetic versus ideographic. अब देखो इसका फर्क क्या है. The word nomothetic is actually drawn from a root word nomos. Nomos means generalization. So nomothetic geography is that geography which says that geography is like physics. It means you can build general laws, like you have the laws of motion in physics. So you can also have laws, similar laws in geography. Or geography is more of a generalized discipline, because once you make a law, that becomes a universal reference point, and now you can take many decisions on the basis of that law, and you can understand several things on the basis of that law. Whereas ideographic, this word is drawn from the root word idios. Idios means unique. It means when something is unique, you cannot make a generalized law for it. Do you get it? Like see, in the world, we can make some general laws. Like all human beings require food to survive. Can we make that law? Some people might say that that's a good law because it's applicable on everyone. But some people might say that is not applicable on some people who are fasting on to death. Do you get that? Maybe because of religious reasons or other reasons. So that is that branch of geography which says that you cannot have generalized laws in geography. Like you have generalized laws in mathematics, like say for example, if I draw two parallel lines and I draw an intersection, can I say if this is A and this is B, A and B are similar angles? ये एक जनरल लॉ हो गया मैथमेटिक्स का, ये ज्योमेट्री का. पर ज्योग्राफी में हम ऐसे लॉ नहीं बना सकते. Can you understand that these nomothetic geographers are more closer to physical geography? Because physical geography is like pure sciences, and in pure sciences we can have general laws, whereas the ideographic geographers are more closer to human geography, because human geography is behavioral in nature and behavior is very unpredictable. Is that thing clear to everyone? Then the sixth dichotomy is deductive versus inductive geography or approach. Now, what is deductive? Look here. In deductive approach, we start with an assumption and then we try to prove that assumption. Do you get it? Or think of this, that many of you, while you were in school, you learnt your general science or physics. There you learned something called the laws of motion. And one law was like the third law, which we discussed yesterday. To every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. Got it? So suppose if I throw this, it comes back. Do you get it? Now, you have not done that previously, but you have only read it in a book. Now, when you came out of school, maybe in your sports period or something like that, or as you came back, you started playing cricket or any other game, you noticed that yes, this law is true, that whatever I throw comes back. It means to every action there is an equal and opposite reaction. You remember those summer vacations days when the sun was blazing outside, you want to go outside and elders in the home are not allowing you to go outside, so you're sitting and you're hitting the ball on a wall and you're trying to catch that. And there you are also experimenting. What? Newton's law. Do you get that? So that is deductive approach. Deductive मतलब आप पहले ही एक assumption कर लेते हैं, आप मान लेते हैं कि हाँ ये ठीक है, to every action there is equal and opposite reaction. Now you go out in the real world and you test it. If the experiments validate the law, you declare the law as valid. Do you get that? That is deductive approach. Some people feel that geography should be like that. Don't you think that these deductive people, they are closer to the nomothetic people? Because they are talking about law building. Do you get it? Whereas inductive approach is completely different. अब आपने ना physics पढ़ा है, ना आप कभी स्कूल गए हो, ऐसे समझ के देख लो. And now this is what you do one day. You pick a ball, you throw it, it comes back, you throw it again, it comes back again. You do it on multiple occasions, not only with this ball, but you do it with a cricket ball, a football, so many balls. Do you understand that? And then you understand that whatever I throw comes back. That is inductive approach, that through experimentation we build the theory or we build the law. In deductive approach, we already start with the law and we test the law. So deductive approach is a law testing approach, whereas inductive approach is a law building approach. Like say for example, suppose I enter into this classroom, assuming first that everybody is of 25 years age. Suppose that is my assumption. Do you get that? And when I ask everybody your age, don't think I'm going to do that, but just for the sake of argument, I find that yes, everybody is of 25 years age. So my assumption is proven to be true. So what approach did I follow here? Deductive approach. Got it? Now the second approach is I came into the class not with any assumption, but I started asking you people your ages and all of you said that it is 25. So I went out of the class and gave a law that everybody who is sitting in the class is of 25 years age. That is what approach? Inductive approach. Do you understand that? तो geography जब हम पढ़ेंगे तो हम दोनों approach follow करेंगे, deductive भी और inductive भी. लेकिन ये better होगा that we follow more of inductive approach rather than deductive approach. Do you get that? Because inductive approach is more scientific in nature. It is based on experiments. Got it? This is law testing approach, whereas this is law building approach. Got that? Now, the seventh type of dichotomy is deterministic versus possibilistic. अब देखो, deterministic approach क्या कहता है? ये कहता है कि हम जो भी कर रहे हैं अपनी जिंदगी में, nature is determining that. Like say for example, the food you eat, the clothes you wear, the kind of crops you grow, everything is determined by nature. It means man is like a slave and nature is the master. Nature is giving you commands and you are doing as per the commands. Like say for example, you would see that if you go to the deserts of Rajasthan, you would see the ladies wearing a particular kind of attire. Why? Because have you seen that their hands are all fully covered? Men are wearing big turbans. Why? Because during the day, the sun is unforgiving, whereas the nights are bone-chillingly cold. So that's why you need to protect yourself from such harsh climate. So the attire that they have adopted in Rajasthan is not an accident, but something which is determined by the climate of that region. Are you understanding that? Like if you go to Assam, you will see Assam is regularly flooded. Also some parts of Bihar which are regularly flooded. You would see that people would build their houses at some height. Why? Because water comes into the house more often than not during the rainy season. So their settlement is also somewhere inspired by the directions of the nature. Deterministic school of geography says that man is like a slave and nature is the master. Nature determines how man will live. It means his economic activities and social activities all are decided by nature. So what kind of relationship exists between man and nature according to determinists? Master and slave, where nature being the master, man being the slave. In fact, there was an American geographer her name is Ellen Churchill Semple. अब वो ये कहती हैं, ध्यान से सुनना, and she is a student of Carl Ritter. वो ये कहती हैं, man is the dust of earth. मतलब समझ में है? Man is the dust of earth, मतलब धूल का भी धूल है नेचर के सामने. अब एक बात बताओ, अभी टर्की में अर्थक्वेक आया था या कोरोना वायरस जब आया था, हमने क्या ही कर लिया? You get that? So it means that when nature shows its full fury, we are completely helpless in front of nature. Got that? That is the belief of determinist scholars. Now, determinism can also be of two types: natural determinism and cultural determinism. Some people say that nature decides everything. Some people say that culture decides everything. Like the religion that you are following decides your food habits. Got it? But culture is also influenced by nature to some extent. So that's why it is actually nature which is determining everything. That is the deterministic school of geography. In its complete opposition, there is another school which is the possibilistic school, and Vidal de Lablache, the famous French philosopher and geographer, is the progenitor of this school. Now, what is possibilism? Possibilism, possibility का मतलब क्या होता है? मतलब chance है. You understand that? According to possibilistic geographers, man and nature are not slave and master. Rather, the relationship that exists between man and nature is like how relationship exists between two friends. Do you understand that? So nature is not the master but a companion. Nature gives us hints, tells us what are the possibilities, and then leaves it to man and his wisdom to use that knowledge and take geographic, economic and social decisions. Like say for example, suppose there is an area which has very high rainfall and high temperature, and the soil is alluvial soil. Got it? And the area is also plain. It means it is not an undulating surface. Undulating means जिसे उबड़ खाबड़ कहते हैं, वैसा नहीं, बिल्कुल plain area है, अच्छा rainfall है, अच्छा temperature है, and the soil is alluvial soil. Now, if you are a farmer, the nature is giving you hint कि क्या कर लो, try to grow rice here or paddy. You understand that? That is what nature is giving you. Nature is not commanding you, rather nature is giving you a hint. Do you get that? So now there is a possibility of growing rice here. So possibilists feel that nature is like a friend who guides man from one step to another step, tells man what he needs to do. Whereas determinists say that nature command देता है और man सिर्फ follow करते हैं. जबकि possibilists कहते हैं कि nature hint देता है. Nature master नहीं है, nature hint देता है. In fact, man has modified nature to a great extent with the use of his acumen and technology. Like think about the forests in Europe, all of them are gone now. Why? Because during the Industrial Revolution, there was wide scale cutting of trees. And that's why you see that nature has been completely altered by human activities. So man is not a slave. Man can fight with nature. Corona आया लेकिन हम निकल तो आए ना उससे आखिरकार. So determinists are like pessimistic people कि कुछ हो नहीं सकता. But possibilists are more optimistic. Possibility मतलब optimism. Do you get that? That's the seventh kind of dichotomy that we encounter in geography. The eighth kind of dichotomy, and this is the last type, is quantitative versus behavioral. Now look here. What is quantitative? What is quantitative meaning of this word? Anything that can be measured, weighed, etc. It means we can attach some values to that. That is quantity. Do you understand that? So in the 1960s, there started a movement in geography. That movement is known as quantitative revolution. Now, quantitative revolution says that geography को भी हम maths और statistics की तरह पढ़ सकते हैं. Models बनाकर, theory बनाकर, chart बनाकर, graph बनाकर. Like say for example, you have things like sex ratio, literacy rate, etc. So you represent them with the help of, say, some rational numbers, figures, decimals, graphs, charts, etc. तो वैसे मॉडल्स, थ्योरीज, ग्राफ्स, चार्ट ऐसे बनाए जा सकते हैं. इट मींस वी कैन क्वांटिफाई ज्योग्राफी. They came to be known as the people who subscribe to the quantitative school of thought in geography. जो ये बोले कि ज्योग्राफी भी मैथ्स और स्टैटिस्टिक्स की तरह ही है, इसमें भी हम ग्राफ, चार्ट, सारी चीजें बना सकते हैं और समझ सकते हैं. Is that thing clear to you? Many people were in opposition to this kind of a thought. They said that this makes geography like any pure science subject. But geography is not pure science. It's a special science. Remember that? And there is a human element always involved in geographical understanding. And human element means behavioral element. And behavior is unpredictable. And when something is unpredictable, we cannot quantify it. Like, so for example, can you quantify compassion? Can you quantify anger? ऐसा बोल सकते हो कि इसको 4 किलो गुस्सा आता है हर दिन? ऐसे तो नहीं बोल सकते ना. You cannot quantify these things because it's part of behavior. Anger is part of behavior. So the behavioral geographers said that geography is that kind of discipline where we cannot have any kind of quantification. Behavioral geography was a counter movement to the quantitative revolution. Do you get that? So these are the 8 dichotomies that we will encounter in geography. First one is physical versus human. Are you clear with that? The second one is systematic versus regional. Systematic में मतलब एक geographical element सारे region के ऊपर. Regional में कोई एक region उसमें सारे geographical element. Historical and contemporary, theoretical and applied. Nomothetic versus idiographic. Nomothetic मतलब geography में भी laws बनाए जा सकते. कैसे laws? General laws. Idiographic means it is unique. You cannot attempt to make general laws in geography. Then deductive versus inductive. Deductive means you start with an assumption, you test the theory. Inductive means you do ground experiments, then you build the theory on the basis of the results of those experiments. Deterministic versus possibilistic. Deterministic means nature is the master, man is the slave. And remember Churchill Simple's definition, man is the dust of earth. And then possibilistic means man and nature are friends. Do you understand that? Nature provides hints for man to catch up, and then man can take decisions on the basis of that hint. And then quantitative versus behavioral. Quantitative means that we can quantify geography, we can study geography like mathematics and statistics with the help of graphs, charts, all those kind of things. Whereas behavioral geographers say that no, there is a human element, and you dehumanize geography when you try to study geography only from the statistical or mathematical lens. Is that thing clear? अब एक चीज देखो. Remember that dualism example or dichotomy example where I said that there is one person and there are 2 light sources which are causing 2 shadows? Now you might have seen in cricket matches, day and night matches, if there are 4 lights, there are 4 shadows of the same person. Now, if I look at this shadow, shadow 1, and this shadow 2, suppose I look at this shadow and I say that this shadow is something different from that shadow, and this shadow is of a different man. Am I correct? Do you understand that? Am I correct in that? If I say shadow 1 is of a different man and shadow 2 is of a different man, am I correct? No. It's my perspective which is limiting my understanding. Do you get that? Or remember that how I said that there could be branches. अगर आप ये बोलोगे this is a different tree and this is a different tree, then you are a big fool. You understand that? In fact, it is the same tree which is branching ahead, isn't it? Geography को जितना नुकसान dichotomies ने पहुंचाया है, उतना नुकसान तो किसी चीज ने नहीं पहुंचा. आप समझ रहे हो? क्योंकि ज्योग्राफी है ही स्पेशल साइंस. तो जनरल लॉज बना सकते हो आप ज्योग्राफी में? हाँ, बना सकते हो. फिजिकल ज्योग्राफी में तो बन सकते हैं, बट ह्यूमन ज्योग्राफी में नहीं बन सकते. तो हम कैसे बोल दें कि ज्योग्राफी पूरा नोमोथेटिक है या पूरा इडियोग्राफिक? डू यू गेट इट? सिमिलरली आप ये देखो कि कोई भी चीज जो आज है, जैसे हिमालयाज है या रॉकीज, एंडीज माउंटेन्स हैं, या एनाटोलिया प्लेटू है या डेक्कन प्लेटू है, आज कैसा है ये समझने के लिए पहले क्या था वो तो समझना जरूरी है ना. Like say for example, are you aware over Maharashtra there is a kind of soil called the black soil, black cotton soil. Now that is the result of weathering. वेदरिंग ऑफ व्हाट रॉक्स? वोल्केनिक रॉक्स। वोल्केनिक रॉक्स मतलब उससे पहले कभी ना कभी वहां पे वोल्केनिज्म हुआ होगा। तो ये सब कुछ समझना जरूरी है कि नहीं, वो ब्लैक कॉटन सॉइल की प्रॉपर्टी समझने के लिए। तो हिस्टोरिकल एंड कंटेम्प्रेरी ज्योग्राफी, ये डिफरेंशिएशन ऑफ ज्योग्राफी भी बिल्कुल बकवास है। यू गेट दैट? सो ये डाइकोटमीज जो है जितने भी हैं, दे डू अ डिससर्विस टू ज्योग्राफी बिकॉज दे लिमिट योर अंडरस्टैंडिंग। वैसे बोलते हैं कि ज्योग्राफी ऐसा है या तो फिर वैसा है, ना वो ऐसा है ना वो वैसा है, वो दोनों है। यू गेट इट? दैट इज व्हाट यू नीड टू अंडरस्टैंड। Is this thing clear to everyone? Okay, so now give a small subheading: 8 popular dichotomies in geography. 8 popular dichotomies in geography. 8 popular dichotomies in geography. अब इसके नीचे आप 1 2 3 4 करके ऐसे लिखते जाना. फर्स्ट यू गिव अ हेडिंग: फिजिकल versus human geography. Physical versus human geography. Now under that you write, physical geography is the study of the origin and evolution, study of the origin and evolution of physical features and evolution of physical features over the Earth's surface from a spatial point of view. From a spatial point of view. ये बात आपको क्लियर हुई? क्योंकि टेम्पोरल पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से बोलूंगा तो वो कौन सा सब्जेक्ट हो जाएगा? हिस्ट्री हो जाएगा. वी आर स्टडीइंग फिजिकल फीचर्स फ्रॉम अ टेम्पोरल पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू. इट बिकम्स हिस्टोरिकल ज्योग्राफी. Historical physical geography. Do you understand that? So put a semicolon and write. Whereas human geography is the study of the origin and evolution. It's the study of the origin and evolution of the man-made features. Origin and evolution of the man-made features over the surface of the earth, from a spatial point of view. अच्छा, आपने जो भी ज्योग्राफी की बुक देखी होगी उसमें यही लिखा होता है, फिजिकल ज्योग्राफी एंड ह्यूमन ज्योग्राफी. एक किताब मैंने आपको कल बताई थी, याद है? गो चेन लियोंग. इफ यू लुक एट द हेडिंग ऑफ दैट बुक, इट सेज सर्टिफिकेट इन फिजिकल एंड ह्यूमन ज्योग्राफी. आपका सिलेबस भी देखो, वो भी वैसा ही बटा हुआ है. जो आपकी बुक है वो भी वैसी है, एनसीईआरटीज भी वैसी है लगभग लगभग. इट मींस दिस इज द मोस्ट पॉपुलर डाइकोटमी इन ज्योग्राफी. गॉट इट? So put a bracket and write within that, this is the most popular dichotomy in geography. This is the most popular dichotomy in geography. दूसरे पे आ जाओ. Second, you write systematic versus regional geography. Systematic versus regional geography. Now under this you write, in systematic geography we study one geographical variable. In systematic geography we study one geographical variable across regions. Put a full stop. This geographical variable could be either a natural variable, or a man-made variable, Put a full stop. The maps that are produced by this approach, are known as what are they known as? Thematic maps. So change the ink, put a hyphen and write that word with a different ink. Thematic maps. Put a full stop. Now come back to your original ink. For example, a rainfall map of India. Showing regions of high, low, and moderate rainfall. Put a full stop, right? Alexander von Humboldt, Humboldt. कई बार इसको HUMBOLT भी लिख देते हैं, दोनों सही है. Alexander von Humboldt, put a comma. The German geographer is considered as the father of the systematic approach in geography. Next point, you write, in regional geography, we study all the geographical variables. In bracket you write physical and human, close the bracket, over a particular region, or over one particular region, कुछ भी लिख सकते हैं. Put a full stop. For example, if we make a map of Delhi, highlighting its climate, demography, soil, transport network, industries, settlement, etc. We are in the realm of regional geography. Put a full stop. Karl Ritter, put a comma. The German geographer, Karl Ritter, put a comma again, is considered as the father of regional approach in geography. अब मार्जिन में कहीं पे लिख लो Humboldt and Ritter are considered as the fathers of modern geography. Humboldt and Ritter are considered as the fathers of modern geography. अब तीसरे पे आ जाओ, थर्ड, हिस्टोरिकल वर्सेस कंटेम्पररी ज्योग्राफी. Historical versus contemporary geography. Under that you write, when we study the geography of the present time, when we study geography of the present time, we are in the realm of contemporary geography. We are in the realm of contemporary geography. Whereas if our focus is on the geography of the past, we are in the realm of historical geography. Historical geography. Put a full stop. For example, the representation of Himalayas, put a comma, as they exist now, put a comma again, over a map is a contemporary map. Whereas if we indicate that in the past the Himalayan region was occupied by a great sea called the Tethys Sea. We'll read more about it when we go to continental drift theory. Tethys Sea, it is a historical map. In bracket you write geographical history. Close the bracket. Fourth one, theoretical versus applied geography. Now under this you write, theoretical geography is concerned with building theories, models, laws, etc. in geography. Whereas when we utilize the theoretical knowledge, for actual decision making, we are in the realm of applied geography. Like see, when we understand the rainfall and temperature pattern and we take decisions with respect to cropping pattern. We are in the realm of what? Applied geography. Got it? So put a semicolon, right? For example, when our knowledge about temperature, for example, when our knowledge about temperature and rainfall pattern helps us in taking agricultural decisions. We are in the realm of applied geography. Then comes the fifth one, right? Nomothetic versus ideographic geography. Nomothetic versus ideographic geography. Nomothetic versus ideographic geography. Now, under that, you write nomothetic geographers believe that we can build general laws. For geography. Like the laws in physics or mathematics. Put a full stop. Such geographical laws will have universal applicability. And hence can be applied over all regions. Put a full stop. Then you write, according to ideographic geographers, every geographical region is unique. According to ideographic geographers, every geographical region is unique, and hence we cannot have general laws. For all regions. Okay? Next, you write deductive versus inductive. Geography. Under that you write, in the deductive approach, we start with an assumption. Or law. And through experiments, we either validate it or falsify it. Falsify means declare it to be untrue. Falsify it. Put a full stop. This is a law testing approach. In geography. law testing approach in geography. Next line. In the inductive approach, we first conduct ground experiments. In the inductive approach, we first conduct ground experiments. And then on the basis of the results, of such experiments, we build a theory. Put a full stop. This is a law building approach. In geography. Then comes deterministic versus possibilistic geography. Now, under that you write, according to determinism, all the human activities over the surface of the earth, are determined by the forces of nature. Put a full stop. For example, the crops we grow, the food we eat, the clothes we wear, etc., are all determined by the natural environment. Of the place where we live. Put a full stop. Sometimes culture also determines our living pattern. And activities. Put a full stop. Hence, determinism is of two types. Put a hyphen and now change the ink to write these two types, name environmental determinism and cultural determinism. Ellen Churchill Semple, the American geographer, is an environmental determinist. कहीं पे मार्जिन में लिख लो खुद की अंडरस्टैंडिंग के लिए, मैन इज डस्ट ऑफ अर्थ. एक हाइफन डाल के लिख लेना, सिंपल. उन्होंने कहा था ये. Now, put a full stop and write. According to possibilism, man and nature are partners or friends. Man and nature are partners or friends. Nature gives us hints and creates new possibilities. Nature gives us hints and create new possibilities. The French geographer Vidal de Lablache, Vidal de Lablache, Vidal de Lablache is a possibilistic scholar. Is a possibilistic scholar. कहीं पे मार्जिन में लिख लो, man is slave and nature is master. Man is slave and nature is master. Put a hyphen and write determinism. Man is slave, nature is master. Put a hyphen, write determinism. और कहीं पे वहीं पे लिख लो, man and nature are friends, possibilism. Man and nature are friends, possibilism. Let's come to the last one. Quantitative versus behavioral geography. Quantitative versus behavioral geography. In the 1960s, there started a movement. In the 1960s, there started a movement in geography known as quantitative revolution. Known as quantitative revolution. Put a full stop. Under this movement, the attempt was to reduce geography to a science like mathematics or statistics. Reduce it to a science like mathematics or statistics. Put a full stop. In other words, graphs, charts, curves, etc. Graphs, charts, curves, etc. were incorporated in the discipline. And the focus was on building models, theories, and laws. Focus was on building models, theories, and laws. Put a full stop. Several geographers felt that this movement has dehumanized geography. As it took away the human element. Which is unpredictable. And integral to decision making. Unpredictable and integral to decision making. Which is unpredictable and integral to decision making. Put a full stop. This counter revolution is known as the behavioral revolution. This counter revolution is known as the behavioral revolution. This counter revolution is known as the behavioral revolution. Got it? So these are the 8 dichotomies. Let's write a note. You write. However, it is not advisable. However, it is not advisable to divide geography into branches because it is neither a pure natural science, because it is neither a pure natural science nor a pure social science, nor a pure social science. Rather, it is an admixture of both. Rather, it is an admixture of both. Put a hyphen and then change your ink and write these words: spatial science. Spatial science. ठीक है? अब देखो जो भी हमने पढ़ा है अब तक, एक बार देखो पेजेस अपने और बताओ अगर आपको कोई भी डाउट है. Look at whatever we have learned so far. Clear? Everything clear? I mean the concept is clear. ऐसे नहीं, दिमाग से clear नहीं होना चाहिए. Concept is clear? Everything? Okay. So let's move forward and let's take the next topic. Now, we start with lithosphere. So we are starting with physical geography. ये introduction हो गया हमारे पूरे subject का. आपको समझ में आ गया कि subject होता क्या है, nature कैसा है उसका. क्योंकि अगर ये नहीं समझ पाओगे आप तो आगे geography समझना बहुत मुश्किल हो जाएगा आपके लिए. पर अब ज्योग्राफी का मतलब समझ में आता है, डाइकोटमी, डुअलिज्म, स्पेशल साइंस, कोरोलॉजी, ये सारे वर्ड्स क्लियर है आपको, तो अब आसान हो जाएगा पढ़ना. ठीक है? सो गिव अ हेडिंग लिथोस्फीयर. दैट्स आवर फर्स्ट यूनिट, लिथोस्फीयर. देखो, नाउ ड्रॉप योर पेन एंड लुक हियर. वी आर फर्स्ट trying to understand the forces that affect the Earth's crust. But before we do that, it is important for us to define what is lithosphere. Now, I am very much sure that you are not encountering this word for the first time in life. You already are aware about this term lithosphere. How do you define lithosphere? अच्छा देखो, when you get an opportunity to speak in the class, take that opportunity to speak because that opens up your personality. क्योंकि देखो हमें यहाँ सही नहीं होना है. Are we here to perform? No, we are here to learn. You get that? So try to speak out. तभी आपके नॉलेज में एक्सपेंशन होगा. वरना आप जैसे कुछ लोग होते हैं ऐसा एटीट्यूड बना लेते हैं अपना कि क्लास आना है, नोट्स बनाना है, फिर घर जाना है, उसी को पढ़ते रहना है, मैं किसी से बात भी नहीं करूँगा, बात कर लिया तो कहीं मेरा सिलेक्शन रुक गया तो ऐसा एटीट्यूड नहीं रखना है. यू गेट दैट? यू हैव टू बी वेरी रिलैक्स्ड इन योर अप्रोच, तभी आपका एग्जाम क्लियर होगा. इतना स्ट्रेस लेकर कहाँ जाओगे? देखो अभी कोई बहुत ज़्यादा उम्र भी नहीं है कि इतना स्ट्रेस लो, तो उतना ही लो जितना आप ले सको. ठीक है? तो बोलो, व्हाट इज लिथोस्फीयर? हाउ डू यू डिफाइन लिथोस्फीयर? आउट. ओके, लिथोस्फीयर एंड क्रस्ट आर द सेम. अच्छा, ये वर्ड का मतलब क्या होता है? लिथोस. स्फीयर का मतलब तो आपको पता है ना. लिथोस का मतलब बता दो, बस हो गया लिथोस्फीयर. लिथोस मीन्स स्टोन और रॉक. यू अंडरस्टैंड दैट? लिथोलॉजी मीन्स द स्टडी ऑफ रॉक्स. पैलियोलिथिक मतलब ओल्ड स्टोन्स या old rock culture. Got it? So lithosphere is what? Lithosphere is the outermost sphere of the earth which is made out of solid rocks. Do you get that? Or the outermost layer of the earth, which is made out of rocks, is known as lithosphere. Do you know the average depth of lithosphere? You know that the earth has several layers. Got it? So the outermost layer is what? It is lithosphere. Now what is the average depth of lithosphere? कहीं पे तो ज्यादा भी हो सकता है, कहीं पे कम भी हो सकता है, बट एवरेज डेप्थ क्या है लिथोस्फीयर की, आपको आइडिया है? यस, इट इज 100 किलोमीटर्स. फ्रॉम वेयर? देखो, कभी भी हाइट हो या डेप्थ हो, दे आर ऑलवेज मेजर्ड फ्रॉम द मीन सी लेवल. डू यू गेट दैट? सो 100 किलोमीटर्स फ्रॉम द सरफेस, ऐसे बोल लो अभी के लिए, ठीक है? सो द फर्स्ट layer of earth, or the topmost layer of earth, or the topmost solid layer of the earth, which extends roughly up to a height, up to a depth of 100 kilometers, is known as lithosphere. It is very hard. Do you get that? But is lithosphere equals to crust? क्योंकि तीन लेयर जो नॉर्मली हम बोलते हैं क्रस्ट, मैंटल, कोर. सो इज लिथोस्फीयर इक्वल्स टू क्रस्ट? नो, क्योंकि जो एवरेज डेप्थ क्रस्ट की है वो है 60 किलोमीटर, जबकि लिथोस्फीयर की कितनी है? 100 किलोमीटर. तो 60 किलोमीटर के बाद क्या शुरू हो जाता है? मेंटल शुरू हो जाता है. क्रस्ट के बाद क्या आता है? मेंटल आता है. यू गेट दैट? सो लिथोस्फीयर में क्रस्ट तो है, प्लस अपर मोस्ट सॉलिड मेंटल होगा, क्योंकि लिथोस्फीयर पूरा सॉलिड है. यू गेट दैट? सो नाउ आई एम टेक्निकली डिफाइनिंग इट. लिथोस्फीयर is the uppermost solid rocky part of the earth that extends roughly up to a depth of 100 kilometers from the surface. It comprises of the crust and the uppermost solid mantle. Do you understand that? That is lithosphere. Lithosphere के नीचे जो layer है, that is known as asthenosphere. Write it here. Asthenosphere. Now, asthenosphere is not solid. Asthenosphere is also not liquid. Asthenosphere is plastic. प्लास्टिक का मतलब क्या होता है? सेमी सॉलिड, सेमी लिक्विड. जैसे स्टिकी टाइप का हो जाता है ना, उसे हम प्लास्टिक कहते हैं. गॉट इट? जैसे आयरन एंड स्टील प्लांट से अभी कभी आपने देखा स्लरी निकलता हुआ, तो वो कैसा होता है? वो प्लास्टिक जैसा होता है. इट्स नॉट कंप्लीटली लिक्विड और कंप्लीटली सॉलिड, इट इज सेमी सॉलिड, सेमी लिक्विड. So the asthenosphere is plastic in nature, whereas above the lithosphere is the atmosphere. Got it? अब उसके नीचे क्या है? We will look at that when it is relevant for us. But अभी तो हम सिर्फ define कर रहे हैं what is lithosphere. So write down. First, put a star and we'll define lithosphere. It is, या ऐसे कर लो, lithosphere is the topmost solid rocky layer of the earth. Topmost solid rocky layer of the earth that extends from the ground surface to an average depth of 100 kilometers. 100 kilometers. अच्छा, एक चीज देखो. Do you remember the radius of the earth? What was it? What was the radius of earth? कितना था बोलो? 6371 किलोमीटर्स. लिथोस्फीयर कितना है? 100. मतलब लिथोस्फीयर ऐसा नहीं है, ऐसा होगा. समझ में आ रहा है आपको? इट्स ओनली 100. समझ गए? Put a full stop and write. The lithosphere consists of the entire crust and the uppermost solid mantle. Uppermost solid mantle. It is brittle in nature. Brittle, B-R-I-T-T-L-E. Brittle in nature. Brittle matlab hard. It is brittle in nature. Beneath the lithosphere, beneath the lithosphere lies the asthenosphere. Lies the asthenosphere, which is plastic in nature. Which is plastic in nature. Which is plastic in nature. In bracket you write semi-solid or semi-liquid. Plastic means semi-solid or semi-liquid. चाहे जैसे बोलो इसको. अच्छा चलो, जब लिथोस्फीयर का डेप्थ हमने देख लिया तो एस्थेनोस्फीयर का भी डेप्थ देख लेते. The average depth of asthenosphere is up to 400 kilometers. It means lithosphere is 100 whereas asthenosphere is 400. मतलब अगर ये asthenosphere है समझ लो, if this is the asthenosphere, it's from 100 to 400. It means the total width of asthenosphere is 300 kilometers. Right? Put a full stop and write the average width of, the average depth of asthenosphere is 400 kilometers. Is 400 kilometers. Put a full stop. Above the lithosphere lies the atmosphere. Above the lithosphere lies the atmosphere. Now, this diagram you draw with me. और देखो, अब ज्योग्राफी की क्लास में आते हो तो कुछ एक सर्कुलर ऑब्जेक्ट ले आओ, चाहे वो कुछ भी हो, कोई बॉटल की ढक्कन भी चलेगी, जिससे आप जल्दी से एक राउंड बना सको. So this is lithosphere for understanding. अच्छा, लेयर के लिए एक और इंग्लिश वर्ड क्या है? लेयर के लिए एक और इंग्लिश वर्ड क्या है? Have you heard about this word strata? Right? So if lithosphere is strata, then asthenosphere lies under that strata. So that's why, ध्यान से देखो, asthenosphere is also known as substratum. ये कहीं पे लिख लो. Asthenosphere is also known as substratum. तो अब कंफ्यूजन तो नहीं है लिथोस्फीयर और क्रस्ट में? Which is more deeper? Crust or lithosphere? Which is more deeper? Lithosphere is more deeper, right? So with the understanding of lithosphere, let's now move to the forces that impact the Earth's surface, got it? Or the landforms that are present on the Earth's surface. But before we go there, do you remember that thing called landform? Any form of land is a landform. And what is a landscape? An assemblage of different landforms is known as a landscape. Landscape could be of two types, natural landscapes and cultural landscapes. Cultural landscapes are something which we study in human geography. In physical geography, we are only bothered about natural landscape. तो क्योंकि अब हम पहले physical geography पढ़ेंगे, इसलिए we will be only bothered about the natural landscape. Got it? So drop your pen. Are you done with this thing? Okay. So look here. Drop your pen. We are trying to understand the forces that affect the Earth's crust or landforms. Now look here. There are two sets of forces that impact any landform. In fact, any landform is the result of the constant fight that goes on between these two sets of forces. Now, what are these two sets of forces? The first one is known as the endogenetic forces or endogenic forces. Either endogenic or genetic, दोनों सही है. And the second one is exogenetic forces or exogenic forces. अब देखो दोनों का फर्क क्या है. जब भी ये word use होगा endo, इसका मतलब something related to internal. Got it? And exo means something related to outside. Like say for example, exotic food or exotic dress. It means something related to outside. Got it? So endogenetic forces are those forces that generate from the Earth's interior. Got it? And these forces are the creators of landforms. Now a landform could be either an elevated feature or a depressed feature. Remember that? So endogenetic forces are those forces that originate from the Earth's interior and they are responsible for the creation of landforms. That's why they are also known as creators or constructive forces. Whereas exogenetic forces are those forces that originate from the Earth's atmosphere and they destroy the landforms which are created by the endogenetic forces. Got it? And that's why these exogenetic forces are also known as destroyers or they are also known as destructional forces. Got it? Now look here very carefully. I'm saying there are two sets of forces that impact any landform. The first is endogenetic forces, the second one is exogenetic forces. Endogenetic forces are those forces that create landforms, whereas exogenetic forces are those forces that destroy landforms. Endogenetic forces originate from the Earth's interior. How do they originate? We'll try to understand that in a moment. But they originate from the Earth's interior and they create the landforms over the surface of the Earth. Whereas exogenetic forces, they originate from Earth's atmosphere and they destroy the landforms that are created by the endogenetic forces. Got it? That's why exogenetic forces are also known as destroyers, whereas endogenetic forces are known as creators. Now, you look here. Any landform could be either an elevated landform or a depressed landform. It could be anything. Like this is what? This is an elevated landform, whereas this one is a depressed landform. If I need to destroy this, like suppose there is rainfall over it and there are small streams that now slip across all the slopes with the passage of time, don't you think they would erode this landform? And as a consequence of that, this landform would be completely eroded one day, and this is that state where it is completely eroded. Do you get it? So is that not a destruction of the landform? Do you get it? Suppose there was some internal force which created the landform, and now there is a force which is coming from the Earth's atmosphere, like rainfall. Rainfall comes from where? From clouds. Clouds are part of where? Earth's atmosphere. So this landform is continuously degraded or eroded with time. And finally, we get what? A plane surface, or exogenetic forces are leveling the surface again. There is no variability. Do you get that? Whereas look here, if it is a depressed landform, suppose it's a depressed landform, how that can be destroyed? Whatever is being eroded somewhere will be transported and deposited somewhere. Do you get that? So suppose all this material is brought here and it is continuously being deposited here. And as it is deposited with time, it is completely filled and you get a plane surface. This is destruction of the depressed feature. Do you get it? So this is variability development, whereas this is leveling. So endogenetic forces are also known as variability developers, whereas exogenetic forces are known as levelers. यहाँ तक बात क्लियर हो गई? एक बार ध्यान से सुनो आप. There are two set of forces that impact any landform: endogenetic and exogenetic. Endogenetic are creators, constructive forces, variability developers, whereas exogenetic forces are destroyers, destructional forces or levelers. From where the endogenetic forces come? From the Earth's interior, whereas where exogenetic forces come? From the Earth's atmosphere. Got it? Any landform is the representation or manifestation of the constant struggle that goes on between these two set of forces. Like say for example, suppose consider my hand to be the primary condition, initial condition. Now there is some endogenetic forces which is coming from Earth's interior, which is creating a landform. Can you see a landform now here? Now what kind of landform is this? Elevated or depressed? Elevated landform. Now there is constant downcutting of this landform due to rainfall and small streamlets that flow across this landform, and ultimately it is destroyed. Do you get it? Now, do you think that when the variability is being developed, the exogenetic processes will stop their work? Will that happen? Suppose a mountain is coming up, till the time it comes up, till such time, will there be no rainfall? ऐसा होता है क्या? No, because it's a continuous phenomenon. Rainfall तो seasonal है, वो तो होगा ही होगा. Got it? और mountain कैसा है? ऐसा है कि 2-3 महीने में बन जाता है. It takes millions of years. So look here. Now try to understand this simple basic science. If the rate of upliftment is more than the rate of downcutting, the result would be an elevated landform. Do you get that? Whereas if the rate of upliftment is less than the rate of downcutting, then there would be no upliftment. It would be a planation surface. Got it? So what would be the height of a landform is dependent upon which is more faster. Like say for example, think of this. Suppose the rate of upliftment is R1 and the rate of downcutting is R2. If R1 is more than R2, then the result would be some variability. If R1 is equals to R2, then this landform will not change its height ever. जो height है वही रहेगा. लेकिन अगर R1 R2 से ज्यादा है तो हम बोल सकते हैं धीरे धीरे इसकी हाइट बढ़ती रहेगी. Do you get it? If R2 is greater than R1, धीरे धीरे इसकी हाइट घटती रहेगी. नेचर ऐसे काम करता है. So all landform is a constant struggle between, it's an expression of the constant struggle that goes on between endogenetic upliftment and exogenetic downcutting. Do you get that? So now I can represent a landform with the help of an equation. याद है क्वांटिटेटिव रेवोल्यूशन इन ज्योग्राफी, जो बहुत सारे इक्वेशन और ये सब करते थे वो. तो हम ऐसे बोल सकते हैं किसी भी लैंडफॉर्म को, any landform, can I say it could be represented like this by the rate of upliftment by the rate of downcutting. Can I say if the numerator is greater than the denominator, the result would be a rising landform. If the denominator is greater than the numerator, then the result would be a diminishing landform. So all landforms are a manifestation of the constant struggle that goes on between the two set of forces, endogenetic and एक्सोजेनिक। ये बात क्लियर है? सो लिखो, हेडिंग डालो, फोर्सेस दैट अफेक्ट द लैंडफॉर्म्स, forces that affect the landforms. Now under this you write bullet wise. First bullet, any landform is the expression, any landform is the expression of the constant struggle, expression of the constant struggle that goes on, constant struggle that goes on between two set of forces, two set of forces, viz dot, put a hyphen and write endogenic and exogenic forces, endogenic or exogenic forces. After that, you write this equation and you put it in a box. Landform equals to rate of upliftment by rate of down cutting. आप ऐसे भी लिख सकते हो, rate of endogenetic upliftment by rate of exogenetic down cutting. See, the word genetic or genic is drawn from the word Greek word genesis. Genesis का मतलब क्या होता है? Origin. Endogenetic मतलब originating in the interior. Do you get that? So next you write, next bullet, endogenetic forces or endogenic forces. Endogenic forces are those forces that originate in the Earth's interior, that originate in the Earth's interior. Put a full stop. These forces are responsible for the creation of landforms. These forces are responsible for the creation of landforms. Put a full stop. Hence, they are known as constructive forces or creators. Constructive forces or creators. Put a full stop. These forces develop variabilities over the Earth's surface. These forces develop variabilities over the Earth's surface. Hence, they are known as variability developers. Variability over the Earth's surface. Hence, they are known as variability developers. Next, you write, the exogenic forces originate within the Earth's atmosphere. Originate within the Earth's atmosphere. Put a full stop. These forces are responsible for the destruction of the landforms. Destruction of the landforms created by the endogenic forces, of landforms created by the endogenic forces. Put a full stop. Hence, they are known as destructional forces or destroyers. They are known as destructional forces or destroyers. Put a full stop. They remove the variabilities, by filling up the depressions, and cutting down the elevated features. Hence, they are known as levelers. Now drop your pen and look here. अभी तक क्या समझे हम? We understood what is the landform. Any form of land is a landform. And then we are trying to understand what are the forces that impact any landform. We understood all landforms are impacted by two forces. What are they? Endogenic and exogenic. Endogenic forces create the landforms, whereas exogenic forces, they destroy the landforms. Endogenic forces, they originate from the Earth's interior. Exogenic forces, they originate from Earth's atmosphere. Do you understand that? Endogenic forces are creators, constructive forces, or variability developers, whereas exogenic forces are destructional forces, destroyers, or levelers. यहाँ तक बात बिल्कुल clear है? And do we also understand that any landform, the height of the landform would be dependent upon the rate of upliftment and rate of downcutting? Do you get that? So write a note. If the rate of upliftment is more than the rate of downcutting, if the rate of upliftment is more than the rate of downcutting, the result would be a rising landform. Put a semicolon. Whereas if the rate of upliftment is less than the rate of downcutting, the result would be a diminishing landform. देखो, rising landform क्या है? One which is continuously increasing in height. Diminishing landform, one which is constantly decreasing in height. Got it? तो ये बात आप ध्यान में रखें. Now let us try to understand कि ये forces generate कैसे होते हैं. कोई भी force जो है उसके पीछे कोई reason भी तो होना चाहिए. कैसे generate हुआ ये force? So let's talk about these forces first. Endogenic forces. So endogenic forces are those forces which originate from the Earth's interior. And it is believed that the internal heat of the Earth is responsible for the generation of these forces. अब Earth में heat कहाँ से आया? ये सबसे बड़ा सवाल है. तो देखो इधर, ध्यान से देखना. Important concepts coming up. Look at this. As we increase the depth, suppose we are moving towards the center of the Earth, can I say that there is a constant rise in temperature? Why there would be constant rise in temperature? Because the overlying weight of rocks is constantly increasing. Do you understand that? And weight generates what? Pressure. And pressure is what? A kind of force. And that generates what? Temperature. Are you understanding it? Look here very carefully. With increase in depth, there is increase in the superincumbent load. अगर आपको नहीं समझ में आ रहा तो ऐसे सोच कर देखो कि कोई इंसान समझ लो खड़ा हुआ है, उसके सर पे समझ लो एक पत्थर रख दिया, ऐसे रख दिया, एक बड़ा स्लैब होता है ना, वो रख दिया उसके सर पे, तो उसका कोई एक प्रेशर होगा. उस प्रेशर की वजह से क्या होगा, कंप्रेशन होगा, और कंप्रेशन ऑलवेज जनरेट्स व्हाट, कंप्रेशन ब्रिंग्स द मॉलिक्यूल्स क्लोज टू ईच अदर, थोड़े लेवल पे जाते हैं और डीपर मॉलिक्यूल्स आ जाते हैं आसपास, सो देयर इज मोर कोलिजन अमंग मॉलिक्यूल्स, मोर कोलिजन मींस मोर जनरेशन ऑफ फ्रिक्शनल हीट. Do you get that? Like say for example, if I press my hand, then suddenly there is generation of heat. Do you understand that? So think of this as situation 1. Now if I put one more rock, one more slab, will that generate more pressure and more heat? Do you get that? तो वैसा ही कुछ हो रहा है. आप देखो, let's suppose this is depth d1 and this is depth d2. Can I say if I am at depth d2, the overlying load is increasing constantly? अब मैं आपको एक टेक्निकल वर्ड बता रहा हूं, ये ध्यान में रखना. The overlying load in geography is known as superincumbent load. So from here onwards, I will use the word superincumbent load. It means overlying load. So as we increase the depth, the superincumbent load keeps on increasing constantly. Hence the weight keeps on increasing constantly. That's why the pressure keeps on increasing constantly. Therefore the heat keeps on increasing constantly. अब ये हीट जो भी जनरेट हो रहा है अंदर, अगर इसको कोई जगह मिल जाए निकलने के लिए, so then that heat will escape. Do you get that? Like say for example, there is a crack somewhere. When you look at the earth, how is it? Is it full of cracks or it is crackless? It is full of cracks. ये ऐसा है कि कहीं पे जहां पे भी जमीन फट जाती है, लोग वहां पर जाके सीमेंट डाल के सब बंद कर देते हैं? ऐसा तो नहीं है ना. It is full of cracks. So these cracks, you see that if these cracks they deepen enough, then they create a pathway for the heat to release. Do you get that? So one reason for the internal heat of the earth is the superincumbent load of rocks. ये समझ में आ गया? ये पहला रीजन है हीट का, इंटरनल हीट का. बट यही सिर्फ रीजन नहीं है. दूसरा रीजन क्या है? In the inside of earth, geologists now believe that at certain locations there is high concentration of radioactive minerals. जैसे कि at about a depth of 300 to 350 kilometers, there is high concentration of radioactive minerals. अब ये radioactive minerals क्या होते हैं? Radioactive minerals are those minerals that break down with time, disintegrate with time. You understand that? And this disintegration is known as radioactive decay or radioactive disintegration. अब उस disintegration में हम ज़्यादा नहीं जाएंगे because that will take us to chemistry. But look here very carefully. Radioactive minerals are those minerals which break down with time. अभी के लिए इतना ही समझ के रहो. Which break down with time or which decay with time. That decay or that breaking down is known as radioactive decay or radioactive disintegration. Whenever there is radioactive disintegration, normal rocks also disintegrate. But whenever there is radioactive disintegration or disintegration of radioactive minerals, they release some heat waves. Suppose there is a radioactive mineral, as it disintegrates, it releases some radiations or heat waves. These heat waves are radiations are nothing but alpha, beta and gamma radiation. आपने सुना भी होगा इसके बारे में. Alpha, beta, gamma radiations, they generate a lot of heat. That's why they are known as radiation, जैसे solar radiation. समझ में आ रहा है ना? ये रेडिएशन इतना हीट जनरेट करते हैं कि रॉक्स को भी पिघला देते हैं. अब देखो 300 to 350 किलोमीटर में कैसा है रॉक्स? प्लास्टिक. रिमेंबर दिस इज एस्टेनोस्फीयर. You get that? So on several location inside there, मैंने आपको एक लोकेशन बताया, कई सारे लोकेशन है where we have rich concentration of what? Radioactive minerals. When they disintegrate, they emit alpha, beta, gamma radiation which generate heat. This is one more reason how there is heat in the Earth's interior. ये बात clear हो गई? The second reason therefore is the presence of radioactive minerals. अब देखो अर्थ एग्जिस्टेंस में कैसे आया. अब ये कहानी सुन लो. क्या हुआ? दैट अ वेरी बिग स्टार which is much bigger than our sun, it went very close to the sun. जैसे कि समझ लो ऐसे, समझ लो ये होगा उस स्टार का साइज, और ये होगा सन का साइज, ठीक है। तो ये स्टार एक वॉन्डरिंग स्टार था। वॉन्डरिंग स्टार मतलब जैसे बहुत लोग नहीं होते बाइक लेकर बिल्कुल घूमते रहते हैं, यहाँ से वहां, उनको पता भी नहीं वो कहाँ जा रहे हैं, बट वो जाते रहते हैं। तो स्टार वैसा ही था समझ लो यूनिवर्स में, इट्स अ वॉन्डरिंग स्टार। सो एज इट केम वेरी क्लोज टू द सन, obviously because of its huge mass, it exerted a huge gravitational pull over the sun's surface. Do you get that? और sun कैसा है, solid है क्या? Is the sun solid? No, sun is made out of gas, mostly hydrogen and helium. Do you get that? So gas में mobility बहुत ज्यादा होती है, और अगर उसको कोई gravitational pull मिल जाए, so then you can understand that a particular gravitational pull will cause some detachment of materials from the solar outer surface. Got that thing? तो ऐसे मान के चलो ये वो मटेरियल है जो डिटैच हो गया, ठीक है। क्यों डिटैच हुआ ये? क्योंकि देखो ये सन ऐसा था, and a very big giant wandering star, it was hurling down, wandering in the universe, came very close to the sun. As it came very close to the sun, it exerted a huge gravitational pull on the solar outer surface. As a consequence of that, some part of the solar surface was separated from it, and consider this to be that part, right? And this part now started following this star. Do you get it? Because it was under the impact of its gravitational field, but the star was moving at a very huge pace. इतना तेज जा रहा था ये that this separated part from the sun could not keep pace with it, and it vanished into the outer space. Can you imagine all of that? Very good. Now, as that wandering star went away, this part was anyhow smaller in size than the rest of the sun. The sun brought it back into its gravitational field. Do you understand that? And then it started revolving around the sun. Got it? और अब देखो, जैसे स्टार बहुत दूर होगा तो थोड़ा सा मटेरियल बाहर निकला होगा, बट स्टार जब बहुत पास आ गया होगा तो बहुत सारा मटेरियल बाहर आया होगा, और फिर जब स्टार दूर जा रहा होगा तो फिर थोड़ा सा मटेरियल बाहर आया होगा। तो जो मटेरियल बाहर आया होगा वो पहले थोड़ा सा होगा, फिर बहुत ज्यादा होगा, फिर थोड़ा सा होगा। इट्स ऑलमोस्ट लाइक द शेप ऑफ अ सिगार। कैन यू अंडरस्टैंड दैट? So think of this, that suppose this is the sun, and the material that was got separated is more or less like this in the shape of cigar. Got it? And it started revolving around the sun. Now this material also got separated with the passage of time in small circular balls. Do you understand? Or spheres. And all these spheres started revolving around the sun, also rotating on their own axis. Now they were all made out of what? Gas. Do you understand that? If you cool gas, it becomes what? Liquid. If you cool liquid, it becomes what? Do you understand that? तो कुछ तो हैं ऐसे जो spheres जो इससे बने हुए थे, इस सिगार से, they are now cold enough to convert themselves into solids. तो जो फर्स्ट 4 टेरेस्ट्रियल प्लैनेट्स हैं, मर्करी, वीनस, अर्थ, मार्स, ये सब सॉलिड हो गए हैं अब, पर ये कभी लिक्विड और उससे भी पहले गैस थे. अर्थ वाज वंस अ बॉल ऑफ गैस. डू यू अंडरस्टैंड दैट? देन इट बिकेम अ बॉल ऑफ लिक्विड. दैट लिक्विड अर्थ is known as primordial earth, or cooling earth is known as a primordial earth. Today the earth has coolen enough that it is today a solid ball. Do you get that? और आपको ये पता भी लगता होगा जब आप सोलर सिस्टम में देखते हो कई सारे प्लैनेट्स अभी भी गैस हैं, जैसे जुपिटर, नेपच्यून एटसेट्रा. और अगर आप मेकअप देखोगे प्लैनेट्स का, तो आप देखो जो सबसे बड़े प्लैनेट है वो ऑलमोस्ट सेंटर में है सोलर सिस्टम के, जैसे जुपिटर हो गया. डू यू गेट दैट? ये चीज आपको समझ में आ गई? दिस इज हाउ अर्थ केम इनटू एग्जिस्टेंस. कहने का मतलब इतना है दैट अर्थ वाज वंस व्हाट इनटू लिक्विड फॉर्म. इतना चीज समझ में आ गया? अब यहां पर ध्यान से, suppose I have two objects. Got it? These two objects are of different densities. Different density means different weight, because density means what? Density is mass per unit volume. So look here. Suppose this weight of this remote control is more than the weight of this block. Suppose, and I keep this over the block. This is what I do. The weight of the remote control is more than the block, and I've kept it over it. Now, if all of us leave this room and come back after some time, will we find this to happen? Will this happen? It will not happen, right? Now, just imagine that I have a cup and I have poured two liquids into it. One a denser liquid and the other one a less dense liquid. And I've kept the cup like this. And then we go out of the room and come back after some time. Will I see that the liquids would separate themselves on the basis of density? The more denser liquid would be at the bottom, whereas the less dense liquid would be floating above it. Why did this happen and this did not happen? Because in solid, molecules cannot move. But in liquids and gases, molecules can move. समझ में आया? ये बात क्लियर हो गई? अब दो चीजें आपको ध्यान में रखनी है. एक, the earth was once liquid, and second, that in liquid molecules can move. So when the earth was in the primordial state or semi-liquid, semi-solid kind of state, what happened was the heavier rocks, they went towards the interior. ऐसे होगा जैसे यहां पे हुआ था liquids के साथ. So it went towards the interior of the earth, whereas the less dense rocks, they started coming towards the surface. This is how it would happen, because the rocks are now not in solid state at that time. They are semi-solid, semi-liquid, means they can move. This process is known as differentiation. Differentiation means creating different layers on the basis of density. Do you get that? Now look here very carefully. ध्यान से देखिए. That as the heavier things sank and the lighter things started moving up, don't you think this is due to gravity? Due to gravity, heavier things, they started sinking in. So this transfer of material towards the interior of the earth is gravity transfer. And whenever this gravity transfer happened, is it happening in free space or there is some rocks already there? There are some rocks. The earth is not a hollow ball. Do you get that? So as these heavier rocks, they sank in, they collapsed over the rocks, and because of that there was an impact, and this impact creates what? Heat. Do you understand that? All kinds of impact create heat. आपने देखा है कभी कोई बहुत तेज गाड़ी अगर टकराती है तो आग लग जाता है उसमें? क्यों? हीट की वजह से. Do you get it? So impact create heat. So this gravity transfer, where the heavier elements went towards the interior and less heavy elements came towards the surface, also caused the generation of heat. Do you understand that? So ये तीन reason है why there is heat in the earth's interior, and this internal heat is responsible for the generation of endogenic forces. ये बात clear हो गई? Clear हो गई आपको? This endogenic forces are generated due to Earth's internal heat, और Earth के interior में heat आया कैसे? Because of superincumbent load. Do you understand that now? Because of the disintegration of radioactive minerals and because of gravity transfer. Got it? अब आप Earth को भी अगर देखोगे तो Earth में crust, mantle, core है. Core में कैसे rocks हैं? They are made out of what? Mostly what kind of minerals? Nickel and iron, heavy elements. Do you understand that? And that's why the core is the most dense. But अब क्यों नहीं होता ये transfer? Because we already have a solid earth, isn't it? We have a solid earth. So write down, give a heading: origin of endogenic forces. Origin of endogenic forces. इसके अंडर लिखो, these forces generate within the earth, and it is believed that the earth's internal heat, is responsible for the generation for the generation of these forces. Responsible for the generation of these forces. Next bullet. The temperature inside the earth is due to the following reasons. Due to the following reasons. Put a hyphen after that and then write as A, B, C, A, right? Superincumbent load. Superincumbent load. Put a hyphen against it and write, with increase in depth, the weight of the overlying rocks. With increase in depth, the weight of the overlying rocks keep on increasing. Keep on increasing. Put a full stop. This weight generates pressure. This weight generates pressure that creates the heat. That creates the heat. This is the reason why, with increase in depth, this is the reason why, with increase in depth, there is continuous increase in temperature. With increase in depth, there is continuous increase in temperature. अच्छा, आपने देखा है जो माइंस में काम करते हैं, आपको क्या लगता है कि वो क्या ओवर जैकेट, कोट ये सब पहन के काम करते हैं? No, you haven't seen them. They are normally wearing just a very simple kind of cloth, very thin kind of cloth, and a helmet. This is how they work. Because as you dig deeper, the heat constantly increases. And in fact, beyond a particular depth, it is very difficult for human beings to survive. हम नहीं बर्दाश्त कर सकते उतनी गर्मी. देखो, जो मैक्सिमम डेप्थ है जहाँ तक मैनकाइंड ने ट्रैवल किया है वो है नियरली 4.5 to 6 किलोमीटर्स. इतने ही नीचे तक हम गए हैं. रेडियस कितना है? 6371. हम इतना ही नीचे तक जा पाए हैं. और आपको पता है हम क्यों गए थे? टू फाइंड आउट गोल्ड. सो ग्रीड हैज टेकन मैन अप टू दैट डेप्थ. उसके बाद मतलब ग्रीड ने भी जवाब दे दिया कि नहीं हो पाएगा, सोना होगा तो होगा, हम नहीं जा सकते उतना नीचे. इनफैक्ट इट इज मोर इजी टू रीच द सन देन टू रीच द कोर ऑफ द अर्थ. क्योंकि जो टेम्परेचर है अर्थ के कोर में, वो सोलर सरफेस पे जो टेम्परेचर है लगभग उतना ही है, 6000 डिग्री सेंटीग्रेड या 11000 डिग्री फ़ारेनहाइट. तो सोचो दिल्ली में जब 50 डिग्री हो जाए तो क्या हाल होता है हमारा. तो 6000 डिग्री में क्या करोगे आप? बिल्कुल कुछ भी नहीं बचेगा. Do you get that? So that is the first reason. Second, B, you right? Radioactive minerals. Radioactive minerals. Put a hyphen and write. In the interior of Earth, at certain depths, there is high concentration of radioactive minerals. These minerals disintegrate with time. And such disintegration is known as radioactive disintegration. Such disintegration is known as radioactive disintegration or decay. Radioactive disintegration or decay. Put a full stop. Such decay releases radiations. In bracket you write alpha, beta, gamma, close the bracket, that generate heat. Third, or C, you write gravity transfer. Put a hyphen and write, as the earth was cooling down, heavier elements sank. S-A-N-K, sank to deeper levels, whereas the lighter elements moved towards the surface. This happened because the earth is made out of different rocks of varying densities. Put a full stop. This process is known as differentiation. अच्छा, एक चीज आप देखो इधर. Now, as this differentiation was taking place, some cracks developed all over the earth. And because of these cracks, you see what happened was, some of the gases were released from the earth's interior. Got it? This process is known as degassing. So differentiation and degassing occurred more or less concurrently, simultaneously. Do you get that? And this degassing is responsible for the present atmospheric structure of Earth. ये degassing अगर नहीं होता तो हो सकता है हमारा एटमॉस्फेयर ऐसा नहीं होता, क्योंकि हमारा जो पहला एटमॉस्फेयर था शुरू में, that was very obnoxious, मतलब बहुत जहरीला था वो, आप उसमें जिंदा नहीं रह सकते. So put a full stop and write, the differentiation process created several cracks. The differentiation process created several cracks that led to the escape of gases, from the Earth's interior. This process is known as degassing. Put a full stop. Degassing is responsible to a large extent. For the formation of the present atmosphere. Now put a full stop and write, differentiation was caused due to gravity. And this gravity transfer generated heat. Now, drop a pen and look here. when we talk about exogenic forces or exogenetic forces, if endogenetic forces originate in the Earth's interior, where do exogenetic forces originate? In the Earth's atmosphere. Do you understand that? And let me give you the examples of exogenetic forces. In सब का काम क्या है? Landform को destroy करना. Do you understand that? Now, what are these forces? First, running water. Second, glacier. Third, wind. Fourth, underground water. Sometimes is also referred to as subsurface water. And the fifth one is sea waves. एक चीज देखो, सबसे बड़ा रिप्रेजेंटेशन रनिंग वाटर का जो सरफेस पे है, दैट इज रिवर. यू अंडरस्टैंड दैट? सो समटाइम्स दिस कैन आल्सो बी रिटन एज रिवर. अब देखो, आपको एक टेक्निकल नाम बता रहा हूं मैं रिवर के लिए ज्योग्राफी में. इट इज नोन एज फ्लूव. So what is riverine is actually fluvial. You understand that? So look here very carefully. Running water. Suppose there is a landform, and if there is rainfall over it, so clouds will cause the rainfall. So if there is rainfall, you can understand that it would generate some streamlets, small streams. Now if these streams, they start moving across the slopes, with time you can understand they would destroy the landform and they would create a plane surface, because exogenetic forces are what? Levelers. Got that thing? Now this running water, इसका ultimate source of energy क्या है? ये बना कैसे? Can I say it is because of the sun? Why? Because sun caused evaporation, evaporation caused clouds, clouds caused rainfall, and rainfall caused the running water. So ultimate source of energy is what? Sun. अगर हम sun ही हटा दे तो कुछ भी नहीं होगा. Got that thing? Now look at glacier. What is a glacier? A glacier is a solid body of ice, three-dimensional body of ice, and glaciers, they creep down a slope. They start moving down a slope, and this creeping is dependent upon the gradient, because gradient has a direct relationship with gravity. Do you get that? So as the glacier comes down, hurling down, now think of this. Glacier, as it moves down, then you can understand it has a weight of its own. So as it moves down, it scoops some of the material out of the slope, and in that way it eats up the slope with the passage of time, and thus reduces the slope over a period of time. Do you understand that? Now, how this glacier was formed? Due to snowfall. Snowfall is from where? From clouds. Clouds is from where? Condensation. Condensation is due to what? Evaporation. Evaporation is caused by what? Sun. So be it running water or glacier, which is the ultimate source of energy? Do you understand that? Now wind. What is wind? We all know since our childhood that the horizontal movement of air is known as wind. And wind always blows from high pressure to low pressure. And you know, wherever temperature is high, the pressure is low. And wherever temperature is low, pressure is high. So if we have high pressure somewhere, what kind of temperature we have there? Low temperature. If we have low pressure somewhere, what kind of temperature we have there? High temperature generally. That's why over the summer season, the pressure that is developed is low pressure. Whereas in winter season, the pressure that is developed is high pressure. कैसे ये होता है ये हम समझेंगे when we'll go to atmosphere related classes. But अभी के लिए इतनी understanding काफी है, और ये तो general understanding आपको पता भी है. Now you know that high pressure air always moves from high pressure to low pressure, and the horizontal movement of air is known as wind. Do you get that? Now wind, though this looks very innocuous or harmless, but wind can also be dangerous. ऐसे सोच के देखो that there is a mountain. Think of this. There is a mountain, and there is winds which is splashing around these mountains time and again. Now winds also carry with them fine dust particles. Now when these dust particles are thrown over the mountain slope over the years for millions and millions of years, you can understand that that causes something which is known as sandblasting, and thus this mountain can get eroded with the passage of time. Obviously running water can erode the things much faster than what wind can do, but we cannot say that wind is not an erosive agent. It is also an erosive agent. Do you get that? So that is what is the power of wind, and where the power of wind could be felt most, where it is carrying maximum amount of dust particles. And where wind can carry maximum amount of dust particles, where there is no water on the surface to hold the particles or vegetation. It means where? Deserts. And deserts have dust storms, which is nothing but wind which is having so much of dust in it. That is dust storm. Do you get that? So wind is third agent of erosion, and wind are created due to difference in pressure. Difference in pressure is created due to difference in temperature, and temperature is due to what? Sun. So be it running water, glacier or the wind, the ultimate source of energy seems to be sun. Let's come to underground water. ये underground water होता कैसे है? जमीन के अंदर पानी आता कैसे? Now look here. There is a certain rock structure and there is rainfall over it. So some of the water would evaporate during the rainfall. Some of would flow across the surface, and the rest of it would percolate into the surface. And this percolation would be dependent upon the permeability and porosity of the rocks. Permeability और porosity का फर्क क्या है? Permeability means कि rock में कोई crack है या नहीं. Porosity मतलब जो grains है rock के, उनमें कितना gap है. Do you understand that? So the water will percolate, but after going to a certain depth, it might not be able to percolate further, and then it would start following or flowing horizontally depending upon the slope. This is how underground water is generated. Now it is after all due to rainfall, and rainfall is due to sun. आपको देख रहे हैं यहाँ पे? So the ultimate source of energy here also seems to be sun. What about sea waves? Sea waves are what? Sea waves are movement of water in wave-like format across the ocean surface. And how sea waves are generated? Due to the force of wind. Do you understand how wind is generated? Due to sun. Difference in pressure. Sea waves, as the waves splash across the coastal areas, they can break down the coastal rocks, and in that way they can denude the surface there. So sea waves also derive their ultimate energy from the sun. You get that? So exogenic forces are those forces which are responsible for the destruction of the landforms, and they originate from the Earth's atmosphere, sun being the ultimate source of energy. Are you clear with that thing? Now these are agents of erosion. These are known as agents of erosion, or another name for them is geomorphic agents. देखो, जियो का मतलब तो आपको पता है, ये अर्थ. मॉर्फोलॉजी का मतलब क्या होता है, या मॉर्फ का मतलब क्या होता है? साइज या शेप. शेप समझ लो किसी चीज का, दैट इज मॉर्फोलॉजी. लाइक किसी चीज का शेप नहीं होता तो हम कहते हैं इट्स एमॉर्फस. लाइक अमीबा, इट्स एमॉर्फस. सो मॉर्फोलॉजी मतलब शेप. तो अर्थ के फीचर्स का शेप बदल दे. कौन है वो? ये एजेंट्स हैं. So you get that? So that's why they are known as agents of erosion or geomorphic agents. All of them are levelers. All of them are variability destroyers, not developers, right? अब देखो, इनके पीछे अपनी अपनी cycle of erosion है. जो running water के पीछे जो cycle of erosion है, that is known as the fluvial cycle of erosion. One of the strongest cycle of erosion. Clear? Cycle of erosion का मतलब क्या होता है? देखो, एक landform पहले उसकी हाइट बहुत ज्यादा होती है, then with the passage of time its height reduces, and then when it dies down its height completely goes away. Do you get that? So you have young stage, you have mature stage, you have old stage of a landform. So जो young landforms होंगे, they would be very high. So Himalayas, अगर आपने कभी सुना होगा, many books would call them young fold mountains. Do you get that? Because they're very high now. Do you get that? Whereas the Aravalis are old fold mountains because they are reducing in their height constantly. More of that sometime later in the course. The cycle of erosion, which is generated by the glacier is known as the glacial cycle of erosion. One which is generated by wind is known as the aeolian cycle of erosion, best formed over the deserts. One which is generated by the underground water is known as the karst cycle of erosion. Karst is actually, देखो कौन से पत्थर जो हैं वो सबसे ज्यादा ससेप्टेबल होंगे टू रेन वाटर सॉल्यूशन डिसोल्यूशन. लाइमस्टोन जो चूने का पत्थर होता है वो बहुत जल्दी घुल जाएगा पानी में. There is a region called karst region in erstwhile Yugoslavia, एक कंट्री हुआ करती थी, तो वहां पे ये साइकिल बहुत ही स्ट्रांगली डेवलप्ड है. That's why this cycle is known as the karst cycle of erosion. Are you aware about Mother Teresa? She was from Yugoslavia actually. And the sea waves, the erosion caused by the sea waves is known as the coastal cycle of erosion. Got it? So these are the 5 cycles of erosion and these are the 5 geomorphic agents. Got it? समझ में आ गया ये? देखो जब भी किसी डिस्ट्रक्शन की बात होगी तो वी विल से इट इज जियोमॉर्फिक. गॉट इट? और जब किसी क्रिएशन की बात होगी वी विल कॉल इट टेक्टोनिक. टेक्टोनिक मतलब क्रिएशन, जियोमॉर्फिक मतलब डिस्ट्रक्शन. समझ में? तो टेक्टोनिक फोर्सेस मींस व्हाट काइंड ऑफ फोर्सेस? एंडोजेनेटिक फोर्सेस, whereas geomorphic forces means exogenetic forces. So give a heading: origin of exogenic forces. Origin of exogenic forces. Now under this you write, these forces generate within the Earth's atmosphere. These forces generate within the Earth's atmosphere. Within the Earth's atmosphere. Sun being the ultimate source of energy. Sun being the ultimate source of energy behind the generation of these forces. Source of energy behind the generation of these forces. Next point, they are responsible for the destruction of landforms. They are responsible for the destruction of landforms. Put a full stop. The 5 major agents of destruction are, the 5 major agents of destruction are, put a hyphen and then you can write like this: running water slash fluve, पैसे लिख सकते हो fluve slash river, running water slash fluve slash river. Put a hyphen and write fluvial cycle of erosion. Fluvial cycle of erosion. Second, glacier. Put a hyphen and write glacial cycle of erosion. Third, wind. Put a hyphen and write aeolian cycle of erosion. Aeolian cycle of erosion. Fourth, underground water. Underground water. Put a hyphen and write karst cycle of erosion. Fifth, you write sea waves. Put a hyphen and write coastal cycle of erosion. Coastal cycle of erosion. Now write a note. The exogenic forces, sorry, ऐसे कर लो, the agents of erosion, the agents of erosion are also known as the geomorphic agents, are also known as the geomorphic agents or gradational forces, or gradational forces. Gradational forces. Put a full stop. Write another note. The endogenic forces are also known as the tectonic forces. The endogenic forces are also known as the tectonic forces. So look here, friends, I hope that whatever we have covered in the class today, you have understood each and everything. Is there any doubt from anywhere? Okay. See, this is because early part of our course, that's why I'm moving little bit slow so that you understand the basics of the subject very well. क्योंकि उसके बाद हम मतलब जैसे आप गाड़ी शुरू करते हो तो शुरू 5th गियर पे कर सकते हो क्या? नहीं कर सकते. बट पहले गियर पे चला सकते हो क्या हमेशा? वो भी नहीं कर सकते. गियर तो बदलना पड़ेगा. So we'll do that with the passage of time because I want you people to ingrain this subject, तभी कुछ हो सकता है. ठीक है. अब देखो, आज की क्लास के बाद आपको एक डीपीपी मिलेगी, आपकी पहली डीपीपी. लेकिन ये डीपीपी हमको आज सॉल्व नहीं करना है क्योंकि ये डीपीपी हम अगली क्लास के बाद कर पाएंगे. ठीक है. तो आप इसको अभी रख लीजिए. यू जस्ट गो थ्रू इट इफ यू वांट, देन you will try to attempt it after tomorrow's class and we will discuss it in our day after tomorrow's class. Got it? So the instructions are written here, how you have to maintain that, try to do that, and then you try to solve this DPP and then we will discuss it in the class. Got it? Also keep revising the notes because unless you revise the notes before you come to the class, you'll face a lot of challenges. So that is it for the day. Thank you very much. I'll meet you again in the next class. Thank you.